your country.
Hey, I'm Nicole Davis. I'm a CPA with Butler Davis, and I wanted to talk about sales tax. Sales tax is that topic that doesn't get a lot of glitz and glam, but it's a very important topic related to small businesses, because sales tax is one of those things that if you don't comply, the state can shut you down. All right, so sales tax. What is sales tax exactly? You know, when you go to the grocery store and you buy a loaf of bread and they charge you a tax, that tax is the sales tax. So that grocery store is collecting sales tax on behalf of the state to remit to the state. So you're paying it, but they're actually paying it to the state. It's not sales to them, it's just a tax that they have to collect and remit. Now, do you have to file for a sales tax number? Well, that depends. Pretty much you'll need to file for a sales tax number or a sales tax account if you sell any goods that you're planning to resell to the public and you're going to charge sales tax. So notice that I said, and you're going to charge sales tax. It's really not an option to charge sales tax or not if you're planning to resell goods to the public, unless you're going to sell it for wholesale. But we're not going to talk about wholesale. We're just going to talk about you having to get a sales tax number and then charge that to your customer so you can remit it to the state. Most states' sales tax accounts can be applied for through their Department of Revenue website. They usually have a form that you can complete online or that you can complete manually, and you submit it to the state, and then they'll issue you a sales tax number. A lot of people like to use the sales tax number to get an exemption, saying that if they buy goods from a supplier or a vendor, that they're exempt from sales tax because they're going to collect sales tax when they resell it and collect it from their customers. So, how does that work? Let's say that you are a retail shop and you sell clothing. Well, every time someone buys a piece of clothing from you, you're going to charge the sales tax rate established by the state. Some places also have local sales tax. So you may have a state rate. You also may have a local or a city rate. So it's split between those two. So you're going to charge your customer sales tax on top of the purchase, and you're going to collect those funds into your revenue cycle. And then, but you don't count it as revenue because it's not your money. You're going to collect it in your process, and then you're going to hold those funds until it's time to remit it to the state. Depending on your state and depending on your filing frequency, you may need to file monthly, quarterly, or annually. Here in the state of Georgia, they usually put you on a monthly schedule for at least a year, and then they may adjust that depending on how much liability you had that first year. Okay, now, let's talk about the consequences of not filing those sales tax returns. So let's talk about the consequences of not filing and remitting those taxes to the state. Don't play with the state and their money. That's all I want to say. Because they have the authority to shut you down. Yes, they can revoke your legal filing status. They can revoke any other licenses that you have through the state because you have not been paying them their money. So of course they're going to come in and be like, yeah, game over. So I do recommend that you work with a professional to find out if you have a filing requirement in your state, and also if you have one in other states, because thanks to Welfare versus South Carolina, you might have a nexus, which means you might have an obligation to pay sales taxes to states that you don't have a physical presence in. So what is nexus? Nexus basically means that you have an online shop and you have customers that are buying merchandise through your website being delivered to them in their state, even though you're located in a totally different state. That can happen for one or two reasons. I mean, you may have a physical presence, you may have a warehouse there, so you have an obligation to collect and remit sales tax in that state, or you may have an economic presence, which basically means you collected enough money in that state from the residents of that state that the state says, yeah, you need to pay us. So again, I definitely advise you to reach out to your tax professional or an accountant to help you determine if you need to be collecting and remitting sales tax to any state that you may have either a physical presence or economic presence with. And that is all that we have on the sales tax. Bye!